Hi, you've reached the offices of Maul, ruthless leader of the Crimson Dawn. If you've just murdered your boss and wish to usurp their position, press 1. If you've just been cut in half and are falling down a bottomless pit and need advice, press 2. For mechanical spider leg repair, press 3. For all other inquiries, please stay on the line and Maul will be on to menace you shortly. Have a Crimson Day. Star Wars Minute.
Hello, and welcome back to Star Wars Minute. It's the daily podcast where we analyze, scrutinize, and celebrate the Star Wars movies 1 minute at a time. I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
I'm Alex Robinson from AlexRobinson.fun.
And I'm Greg Wyshynski of ESPN. You can follow me on Twitter at WYSHYNSKI for breaking hockey news, snippy comments against the people that try to insult me, and pictures of my dog Sneakers.
Mm-hmm. All of
your dog's Sneakers or your dog?
No. My
Sneakers?
dog's name is Sneakers.
Oh, that's an adorable name for a dog.
Thank you. Yeah, the other choices were Kiwi and Biscuit. She's a mini Australian Shepherd. We went with Sneakers, and she is just a barrel of cutes. Whenever I want to say, hey, you know what I'd like? Roughly 300 to 400 retweets. Sneakers.
There you go.
There you go.
Let me also plug your annual Lapsed Wrestling Fans Guide to WrestleMania, which is always helpful. As somebody who drifts in and out of WWE content, it's always a good read for me.
I do some wrestling writing for ESPN as well as the hockey stuff, and I love writing that one because I'm actually more of an AEW fan now than a WWE fan. So I do live the gimmick and go back and revisit and see what's been going on. And also, the job has afforded me the chance to. I did a huge Q&A feature story with The Undertaker, which was awesome. Mm-hmm. Before everyone started doing interviews with The Undertaker out of character, I was one of the first people to do an interview with The Undertaker out of character. And that was really cool. I hope to do more writing about the pulling back the curtain behind the scenes stuff on wrestling, because it's such an interesting stagecraft to me for people that don't watch it.
I agree. Well, there are no wrestlers in this minute that I'm aware of, but we are here to talk about minute 118 of Star Wars, A Solo Party. That's the title. 118 starts with Qi'ra stealing jewelry off of a corpse, and it ends with Qi'ra telling somebody on the phone that she alone survived.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Boy, did she. This was one of the single most blatantly sequel-y moments in any Star Wars movie ever, which is really saying something considering how many sequels there have been in Star Wars. And yet this one didn't get one yet.
Right, yeah.
But it was let's throw open the door and whet some appetites for what might come. And it's just really I know that we're not. I mean, I'm sure you guys don't want to rehash the Lord and Miller stuff a billion times, but it really does make you wonder what their plan was, and whether a moment like this, where they're like, "Hey, by the way, you're going to need to put in Darth Maul with mechanical legs, and he's going to have a conversation with one of your stars." And they're like, "No, we don't." They're like, "Yeah, you do." And they're like, "All right, we'll just go make that Spider-Man cartoon." It's one of those moments where you're just okay, is this one of those things that kind of made people feel it was unpalatable to work on the movie?
Well, let me refer to we're almost at the end of the list. I think I might have read this one already. No, maybe not. I don't know. But the John Kasdan, one of the writers, tweeted out a list of 52 fun facts about Solo in lieu of a commentary or whatever else. And number 51, he says, if you felt like it was just a cheap should I save it for tomorrow? Because we don't know who she was talking to yet officially. I'll save it for tomorrow.
He's shrouded in a cloak.
She was talking to. Well, then let me turn that into a question. Who did we think she was talking to here? When you're in the theater, you're watching this movie, and you're like, she's doing my knowledge of the Crimson Dawn wasn't what it could be, I guess, right? Because it was all like all this stuff was set up in the animated shows that I haven't watched much of, and so she does the thing and she calls and you see somebody in there and like I don't remember gradually. I think it took until he actually took his hood off until I realized who she was talking to, which we'll find out. We'll find that out tomorrow. But do you guys have any memory of being like, oh, who's she talking to? Because they do try to kind of sit on it for a little while and let you let it stew, let it build.
I don't remember specifically. I do wish someone had stopped the movie then and said, "Who do you think that is?" And I would have guessed who I thought it was.
Yeah.
I probably
Who's that Pokemon?
That's a good question because, like, you feel like it should be someone we've seen earlier in the movie, like Val or
right.
Rio or someone who we assume.
I'm picturing that. That would be amazing.
Yeah. So but there aren't many characters for it to be. So I guess I would have assumed that they were just setting up a new supervillain kind of type guy, or maybe like an almost.
It's Pikachu. It's Clefairy. I was
or Professor
X.
Professor X, I would have said maybe.
Right.
Oh yeah, right.
I was spoiled to the heavens for this movie before I saw it in the theater. So I knew what the deal was, and it was one of those things where knowing what the deal was and then not having seen that deal for the entirety of the film, you're like, when are we getting to the fireworks factory?
Oh yeah.
So when it happened, I'm like, wow, this is much later and much not what I anticipated. But yeah, I was thoroughly spoiled for it. But are you guys avoid the spoilers? I don't know if we've ever talked about this.
You mean, do we avoid talking about them on the show, or did we avoid them when
like
we were watching them?
like before you see like let's say there's a new Star Wars movie coming out. Like, are you scouring Star Wars leaks and other places to like find out about the film or no?
We are generally whatever the official trailers are. And Pete, I think at this point has even said he doesn't even want to watch trailers of something he knows he's going to see.
I don't want to, but I'm going to anyway. I'm like, I don't want to watch the trailer, but yeah, I'm going to watch it.
But no, we're not like, oh, someone's posted pictures of the costumes or any of that. We're like, I would rather be surprised, but people are different.
I'm on the other end of the spectrum, man. Like, well, in many ways, but I'm a spoiler guy. Like, I feel like getting there is half the fun. And I think back to when Phantom Menace was coming out, and when I was in college at the time. Like, I used to scour the Corona coming attractions page for Phantom Menace because it was so exciting to read all of the reports that some of them were true and some of them were BS, like, well, Sam Jackson's playing Lando's son. Well, no, that's not true. But it's here. So I was kind of coming up through the internet and movie geekdom at a time when like spoiler culture was really gaining speed. And I've just stuck with it. Like, I'll give you the best example. Prometheus, the Alien sequel. Like, I was on the hour going to the Prometheus Reddit to read people's theories and trying to decipher what these images were and things like that. And ultimately the movie in my head was much better than the movie that I saw on the screen. But like the idea, the deep dives and rabbit holing that people did with that movie ended up being a lot more accurate than I ever thought it could be. And it was really fun. So I'm a spoiler guy to that in that sense. I really like when people dig deep and get the set photos and put the pieces together and are like, as long as it's not like I've stolen the script and here it is. Like, I'm all for movie geek Reddit deep dive speculation stuff. I really get a kick out of it.
I totally was there for again, yeah, Phantom Menace and like anything that was such a part of the experience, being like, what's happening? Oh, there's a rumor about this, and
Right.
and then I went cold turkey for Attack of the Clones. I was like, I don't want to hear anything, because like I don't know what happened. I was like, I don't want to read anything about it. I just want to go in cold. And I went in, and that kind of, not that was the reason why it didn't work out, but I kind of went in, and I came out, and I was like, all right. It would have been okay if a little bit of that was spoiled for me, I guess. And then one
of my favorite random spoilers, and it was definitely on the Corona boards, was there was a rumor that, remember the band Savage Garden?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They'd had that song Truly Madly Deeply. I wanna kiss you.
Now we have to pay for it.
Sorry. There was a rumor that one of George Lucas's kids was a big Savage Garden fan, and they were going to be cast in one of the prequels. I don't think it ever happened, but it really stuck with me as being like, this is so oddly specific that it feels like it should be true, but at the same time, it probably isn't. I love those boards, man. One of my favorite abandoned projects as a guy with too much time on his hands was I always wanted to do a fake Corona Coming Attractions page for the Force Awakens, and like do write the whole thing out, and like, you know, spy blah 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 says that there's going to be a female Jedi in the movie, you know, all this other stuff. Like I'd love to do that project. Anybody out there, Star Wars Minute Land, that wants to join me in this crusade, reach out to me. I'd love to write it.
But I do
very specific pastiche of
anyone from anyone who's Gen X and was on the internet in 1997, please reach out to me and we'll make this magic happen.
I do, somewhere in here, I have not, it's offline, but I have a couple of the magazines that came out before the Phantom Menace that were just kind of like, here's what we think, here's what we've heard, and like we should do a special on that, just going through those and being like, okay, the rumor was.
Oh, it's so good, right? Like it was such a cottage industry, and every little shred and inkling of spy reports that came out, so much fun. What a fun time.
Yeah.
Before the movie came out. Well before the movie came out. What a fun time.
that sweet spot when the Dark Ages were ending.
Right.
Yeah. Well, speaking of dramatic buildups, I also thought it was funny, the dramatic buildup that we get for, like, Qi'ra. Again, she steals the ducal signet ring from Dryden Voss, and she puts it on, and it's momentous, and she sticks it in the special like thing and turns it, and it just closes the blinds. It's like, okay, well, you could have just done that with, like, you know, Siri or something. Like,
and that doesn't really seem to do much either. It's almost like they're like, it's not like the room gets substantially darker. I wondered if it was just some kind of thing where it stopped people from outside looking in. You know what I mean? So that people would know that who she was talking to.
Angles them, so if you're looking up, you can't see.
Like a tinted kind of window.
It's kind of amazing.
Tinted windows don't mean nothing. They know who's inside.
I do a lot of traveling for work, so I'm actually a Marriott Platinum Elite. They give you that ring. That's actually how you close the blinds in your room at Marriott when you're Platinum Elite. It's pretty dope.
Dryden Voss wore his ring on his middle finger, I noticed also. I thought it was a peculiar
well, that's
habit.
Like extra, like, not only is he flipping you off, but he's flipping you off with the power of the Crimson Dawn. It's like, he's flipping you off.
Look who I am. Do you know who I am?
Organization.
I mean, that's swagger right there.
Yeah.
Absolute swagger. Yeah.
I bet it was originally made for Michael K. Williams, but then like his ring finger was slightly too small, so he had to put it on his other one just so it would stay on.
Well, that's the thing that happens a lot in people taking a ring from somebody and just putting it on. Whereas like my own ring, like day to day, I have my ring doesn't fit the same on me. Never mind you know, just taking it off the finger of a corpse and just being able to just put it on, and it's okay. I'm going to wear it for the rest of the movie now.
Well, they're probably all computerized. It's like a droid where they instantly just fit, or like the ring in Lord of the Rings does that. So, you know,
that just kind of shrinks. You know,
it fits the hand.
Its user.
Right.
Well, speaking of Lord of the Rings, we do get that. I noted that was a you get Qi'ra kind of staring longingly at this ring.
Mm-hmm.
And you can sense that she's kind of having like an internal kind of, do I use it? Do I take it? Kind of a thing. And then we cut to like these long kind of like helicopter shot of Chewie and Beckett just kind of walking, down the beach, and
the music is very LOTR.
Yeah,
yeah. So,
which makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. I feel like that was a geographic here. You remember these guys? Here they are. Remember Han was going to go try to save him. Right. That's where he needs to go. Kind of vibe.
Right.
Yeah.
So she plugs in the ring and it activates the thing and
activate the blind.
Is Darth Maul just sitting around waiting like for people to call? It doesn't seem very like powerful of a thing to do. Or maybe it just happened to be when he was supposed to call, when Dryden Voss, like a call was already scheduled and Maul was ready for him. Just by luck.
It's one of two things. Either he was playing Xbox and the call came in, so he's just already in his chair.
Yeah. Or
he did not expect the call and he quickly threw on his robe and
he's actually sitting on the toilet, and that's
that's right. You can't see what throne it is. Correct.
Never fails.
Does he have to use the toilet?
Oh, good question.
I think his toilet parts all got cut off, right?
Wow. It's a great question.
So but he must still eat somehow.
I think
so. I don't know.
I think Pete makes an excellent point, which is that if you are to replace the legs mechanically, what else are you replacing mechanically? Do you have to give him an aluminum rectum?
Mm-hmm.
That was my band in college, weirdly. Yeah, because it's not, as we have said,
it's still your initials. It's AR.
As people point out, it's not just his legs are cut off; it's like from his waist down. So it's it's
Paul F. Tompkins who said he got cut off the kidneys.
Right.
I think when he eats, it just falls through like he's just hollow inside.
Into like a little tray. He's got to empty out a tray every once in a while.
Like a newspaper. He's like a parakeet with a little slide out thing there. Yeah, that's what I think happens.
Let me tell you, sometimes that doesn't sound so bad. It's just like, if I could just, like once a day, like you do a thing, you just empty out your tray and then you're good, Sure.
Yeah.
Don't say you're going to be there soon enough. Don't rush.
I mean, he must be heading to the Sith Smoothie King. I mean, that seems like that's the thing you'd want to just kind of fall through you.
Right. Although I do love the idea that it's like that first meal of the day and you can just hear it like falling in and hitting the tray. Like.
And then just, we won't go into too much detail about that.
I think that he was, I think those legs are those, because those aren't like are those his like ultimate legs? Or those like the because didn't he have multiple iterations of the legs? He had like some like
his first legs were like a spider.
Right?
The first ones? Okay.
Yeah, those were the first, and then he got upgraded to just, or I guess, I don't know, to me that seems like a downgrade. Personally, I'd rather have cool spider legs than just two legs like every other chump,
Oh so my God, how cool would it be?
Mid, like it's almost like if these are a new pair of shoes, if these legs are like relatively recent to him.
Those legs could talk.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like those runners who have like prosthetic feet. Maybe depending on what he's doing, you can put on different, to like.
Was it Oscar the Blade guy? Yeah, that dude.
Yeah.
I feel like for dating, it's probably better not to have spider legs. You probably want to have normally legs for dating
unless
purposes.
You're dating spiders.
Well, you make a good point. Maybe he's dating spiders. It's very true. Maybe.
Although, still from the waist down, he's so like in a way having spider legs. You're like, hey, at least you're getting into something freaky, as opposed to like, oh, I thought you had regular legs, and then suddenly he's like, oh, hold on, I just got to take these off and or hop out of. Are they like pants where he's kind of like,
I don't know. Is he attached? How? Yeah. These are all questions that we are. I
mean, you're also neglecting to address the shoe budget if you have spider legs.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
that's why he had to become a crime boss.
Yeah,
right.
All these shoes.
Right. They're like, oh, he's like, I love these. You have them in my size. You're like, yeah, we do, but we only have 5 of them. He's like, oh,
5? Wait, why would they have 5 of them?
Because somebody stole the display.
Well, I guess it's also, there probably are in the galaxy, there are probably all sorts of permutations, creatures of 2,
Right.
3, 4, 5, you know.
yeah. There was an alien that like was a pogo stick, and he bought 1 shoe, and now
Yeah,
Maul's
there you
like, oh man, what a bum deal I got.
I
What a
would
spider
absolutely
wearing shoes.
watch the sitcom set in the alien shoe store.
Like Married with Children, but in the Star Wars universe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the Al Bundy of the Star Wars universe.
Right.
So Qi'ra explains that, sorry, Dryden Voss got killed by Tobias Beckett, who stole the coaxium.
Mhm.
And does Darth Maul believe her, and B, does he care, or is this
Wait,
just like
that's
okay.
tomorrow? You're talking
All
about
right.
tomorrow because we haven't met Darth Maul yet.
Well, but I'm saying
She's
he
just talking on the phone.
Does this gangster believe her?
Oh, she
Okay,
does say
does-
yes. Right. The last thing that she says is, "I was the only one that survived." Yes. So we do.
Yeah.
She does do the recap. Sorry, we
Yeah.
don't. I didn't. I was confused by my own notes.
It's all right.
She does a recap saying, "Yeah, Dryden Voss is dead."
So does Darth Maul believe her, and B, does he care? Because you'd think being a former Sith, killing your boss is kind of like their whole
right.
thing. You think he would appreciate the initiative, or now that he's not a Sith anymore,
He'd
is he
be
like,
disappointed? He'd be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
you didn't get to kill him? Oh, all right, maybe next time."
yeah,
Yeah,
he would have,
he
he would have less
I-
respect.
The vibe I get is he kind of feels like Dryden Voss is kind of an asshole, so he's like, all right, that's fine by
cares?
me. We'll get to work together a lot closer. Qi'ra, he's
Right.
kind of like cool with it.
Had they interacted before? Also, is the question.
They had to if he
Yeah.
he knew her name. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
And they were like, "Yeah." he
So
doesn't
she
answer,
sat in
like,
on
"Who are you?"
conference calls
You know
with
what I
them.
mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Take a memo, Qi'ra. Tell Dryden.
Yeah, I'm totally. I bet that Dryden
bet it's
Voss
Darth
didn't
Maul?
even like talking too much. Didn't like talking to Maul too much. So like,
Oh.
he would probably often sit just to have Qi'ra do kind of interference to talk to him.
That seems like a risky thing to do. I feel like he would want to keep Qi'ra out of it as much as possible because he's like, well, if they become friends, why am I here? You know,
Oh, good call. Yeah.
like you don't want your underling becoming good pals with your boss because then next thing you know, your underling is now your overling. Overling? Do people ever say overling?
Fingerling.
Fingerling.
Underling potatoes. I don't know. All right, so I'm going to withdraw. But it does seem, you're just assuming that he's operating purely out of logic, and I think he's also, it's a criminal enterprise. Things are slightly different. I think
That's right.
Darth Maul might have creeped him out, and he didn't like dealing with him that much. So you're just like,
Yeah.
it's Maul again. Qi'ra, you take it.
Or does he do like as a power play? He's like, I'm too busy
Oh,
to
yeah.
speak to
Yeah,
Darth
there you go.
Maul. I have
Right.
my secretary. But again, that also
him I'm
seems
not here.
risky. Always flashing his lightsaber around.
Tell him I'm not here. I know he's here. Tell him I'm not here. He senses my old jacket, not me.
Right.
And she definitely pins the murder on Tobias and his gang of hoods. So, but as we're going to find
she
out,
was the only survivor.
Yes.
So although it unfolds more, I will have a question about that.
Yes.
But outside of that question, that's pretty much all I had for today for 118. Do you guys have anything else specific to this? Again, we get a reveal, we get some more questioning and unfolding.
A lot more
Tomorrow.
unfolding tomorrow.
Only question I have is like we've seen different iterations of hologram technology.
Mhm.
Where does this fall on the scale? So we had the little spider guy that did the hologram in the prequels. That was like version 1.0, I guess. This one seems like a cauldron of some sort that conjures the hologram. Then like in the original trilogy, when Vader's talking to the Emperor, it's like a full wall, I guess you would say, like a really big ass hologram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did they just
IMAX.
get bigger as time passed by?
Well, remember, in Empire, you've also got the little like General Veers is talking to the little like 1/6 scale Darth Vader
on the AT-AT, right?
right.
And then obviously in the sequel trilogy, Snoke is like the size of a room.
Yeah.
So like, what is going on with hologram technology around these parts?
I think it's more that just Palpatine loves the ostentatiousness of a giant screen, because as we learn, Snoke is really just Palpatine's.
He called him up. He's like, I ordered you something. I got you a present. I ordered it. It's showing up now. The guys are going to install it. You just put it in the spare room.
Right.
Well, I like that it also puts a burden. It's almost like one of those gifts that if the Emperor gives you a giant hologram, you have to use it. You can't say, "Oh no, we didn't use it." So you have to like buy a big room, and you have to devote a whole room just to the hologram. So it's almost like a way of him testing your, your loyalty by white elephant.
It's like Your Eminence. Do you want to send the message to his mobile device? No, make me big. I want to be big.
I think the Emperor sent us a new hologram device to make the Supreme Leader. The bad news is the First Order pickleball court has to move somewhere else. I don't know what. All the guys in red being like, come on.
Did he choose actual size for the attachment?
Plus, you have that giant Snoke head on the bridge of the First Order ship too. That's a cool, very specific. I always wonder what it looks like from the other side. Also, like, was Snoke looking at a tiny little Kylo Ren or a tiny little,
they're like action figure size. He's like looking at like the Kenner Star Destroyer playset.
The best one. That's all I have for minute 118.
All right. Well, we mentioned the mailbox. We mentioned the social media. Let's also mention we're pretty much out of time. There's not going to be anything. Maybe you can make it under the wire if you call it 8-Day Greedo. It's possible.
Why don't you find out?
However unlikely. But we also just like to get your calls and we can use them for the future. We might do an 8-Day Greedo special on the weekend edition or something like that. So if you want to call us, use the telephone, just like Darth Maul is using the telephone.
If people leave a message for Rise of Skywalker, will it be forgotten by then? You would not advise people to do that?
I will file it away, but it's usually the sweet spot is if you leave a short, funny message like the week that I'm editing the thing that you're talking about, which is impossible for you to know, impossible for mortals to understand. But if you happen to leave a message the same time that I'm editing the week that thing happens, and I'm just like, oh, here's a good one, I'll throw it in there.
Well, I don't think any of us will forget the Rise of Skywalker. So do leave those messages. I think everything will be fine.
Call it up. Leave your messages. Let's talk about Bulio. Let's talk about Ochi of Bastoon. Let's talk about...
Just call up and be like...
Pasana.
Be like, hey, Pete, do they fly now?
They fly now.
They fly now.
And we're going to fly
Felicity.
Another episode tomorrow of Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars Minute.